Hi, milkers. Welcome back to Tres Leches, the podcast where three Latina friends tell stories, unpack identity, and get real about everything from pop culture to politics.
It's sweet, it's a little messy, and always drenched in milk.
3 kinds of milk, in fact.
And the best part is, you can enjoy our milk even if you're lactose intolerant.
Rate, like, subscribe, and share with someone who gets it, or needs to. What a week, huh?
This week
what a week
has
just
been
in general.
many months. I have to say, I don't know if this is good or if this is bad, but even for a person who loves the news as much as I do,
Yeah.
and whose business is news, not as much as it used to when I was in the thick of CBS News and I was really working in news. Now I work in News Light, but I am exhausted by just the sheer magnitude of every headline. It just feels very, very heavy. And I know that's like an easy talking point. Everyone says that all the time. But if I'm feeling it, call the police.
Yeah, summer is definitely rounding out when it comes to, I feel like we'd get one big headline a week. And now this week we've gotten a good amount. So,
okay, so we were right before we started, we were talking about, obviously, Travis and Taylor. Why do I keep wanting to say Tavis? Travis. Tavis. Is that even a name? Travis and... I like that. Yeah, I like it too. It's, I'm sure there's a little boy in Hialeah named Davis Lopez.
oh my God. Yes.
Travis and Taylor, that happened. And that matters to some gays. There are some gays for whom that matters a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Then there was Elizabeth Humst. Betty, that white woman, I care so little about Betty Who. I know that's a terrible thing to say. Her music is so a non-factor to me, but she was out there talking outside out the left side of her mouth about what's her name?
What do you mean she was talking out of the left
rap.
side of her mouth? What does that mean?
I mean, that is... Ian, this impersonation...
I don't know what you're talking about. It's It's my attempt at Betty Davis.
That's it. That's all you're getting.
It's someone.
Yes.
It is like
well,
Betty Davis.
The minute I saw you, I thought, she's someone. She's something. Utterly and totally something.
It's
anyway,
it's really good.
Go on.
Do you? Is this the first impersonation that will be in a part of a series of impersonations that will eventually become the entire form of your Las Vegas act?
Right.
Ooh, that is a good question. I don't know, because I posted a video actually where I did my attempt of this impression with Mario, and not to get too off topic here, but it created a little bit of a rift between, and I apologize for this, but also that wasn't my intention, but people who had suffered from a stroke and or who had Bell's palsy were like, you're making fun of us. And if they had kind of just kept watching the video, and I that's where I get a little you guys, we discussed the Betty Davis and the Truman Capote of it, in the video.
And the way that it comes out of your mouth easier is when you have your mouth to the side.
It's also
so
just,
you can really,
Yeah, but that
you are physically mimicking.
I'm physically mimicking a woman.
I hate to say this, you don't have to explain that to anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
If someone is going to want to take offense, they're going to want to take offense. You weren't trying to make fun of people that had a stroke or people with Bell's palsy.
No.
Those are girls that need attention, and everybody, no matter if you have a disability, your sexuality, the color of your skin, if you want to be insufferable online, you will find a way to make that happen. And you know me, if you do something that I think is a little off color, I'll be like, Ian, it's a little much. But it was just you using your instrument, which is your mouth, which you do be using for this very specific impersonation. It's not like you were doing, hey guys, I'm doing a bit as a stroke person. That's not what it was giving.
Yeah.
Anyway, so to answer your question, maybe I'll bring this out for my Las Vegas show, but as of right now, I need
other ones. So I got to figure out
what those will be.
Yeah. We'll lean in heavily on this one first, and, the others will come.
I
Thank you,
suggest
dear.
Eartha Kitt, and then maybe then Katharine Hepburn, so you can offend absolutely everybody. But make sure you get. I like my Katharine Hepburn with a good shake on it. Okay.
Absolutely.
So speaking of but other things in gay news, other than Elizabeth, Betty Hoomst, and Renee Rapp, and you can read those comments elsewhere. There will be plenty of think pieces, I am sure. What's been on our mind is the very sad, unsurprising, surprising, interesting. I have so many feelings about what happened to Lil Nas X over the weekend in Los Angeles. And I don't mean to make light of it because I understand that he has 4 felony counts that are very, very serious. And I don't want to say like, oh, it was nothing, honey. Come on. We've all been there. But I really do think that it made me sad to realize that some people don't get to make mistakes
The same way. Yeah.
yeah, they don't get to make mistakes without the eyes of the world on them. And I can often be very flippant about celebrity and think, well, listen, honey, it's a part of the job. You want to drive a Rolls Royce, you got to be able to change the tire. So I can be a little flippant when it comes to celebrity and the cost of what celebrity brings with it, especially with like paparazzi, etc. You know, I'm always one to say, listen, if someone asks you for an autograph, take the fucking time, do the fucking thing, you know, stay at the stage door, take the time. I'm hard on celebrities, but this was one instance in which I felt overwhelmed by the way I wanted to protect. I wanted to protect him.
Yeah.
You know, I really wanted to protect him. And for those of you who don't know what happened, over the weekend, Lil Nas X, there was a very strange video that looked very choreographed. He's walking down a big avenue in Los Angeles. Anyone know what it was? I don't even know where he was walking.
It looked like Santa Monica to me, but it could have been honestly anywhere.
No, it was Studio City. It was in Ventura. It was like
It was near Ventura Boulevard.
Yeah.
And the report was Lil Nas X nude. He wasn't. He was in underwear, but I guess that is nudity, I guess, maybe technically.
Right.
And he was walking down Ventura Boulevard, really, really strutting, and he looked healthy and happy and fresh and full. Like the skin looked dewy and he did not look unkempt in any way, at least not to me. And someone is filming him, and he doesn't even seem that intoxicated, other than he's being more playful than the average person would be while sober. And what does he say that broke my heart? He goes, I'm going to playfully, he goes, I want to take that phone away from you. I want to take that phone. And the reports immediately under this was TMZ, Lil Nas X hospitalized for an overdose and this and that. I just thought to myself, how could this be? What do you mean overdose? What do you mean nude? He was just walking down the street. What do you mean he was arrested? I want Lil Nas X to win. I don't want him to be the statistic. And I was just heartbroken by the entire thing. And long story short, he has 4 felony counts, 3 counts of battery against a police officer with injury. So that, you know, he must have done he bucked up at some point. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure eventually we'll have the body cam footage. But, you know, it's a serious thing. He's facing up to 5 years if convicted on all accounts. I mean, he certainly will probably not get that.
And obviously pleading not guilty. Did you say that?
Pled not guilty. Yes, he pled not guilty. And I did not say that. And he released a video yesterday saying, hey guys, you know, essentially on his Instagram, that was a very scary 4 days. Your girl is okay. He said it like 3 times. Your girl is okay. And it did soothe me a little bit to see that he's dealing with it with some grace. But I have to say, like, I thought it was a gag immediately when I first saw the video that I described. I thought, okay, this is a gimmick. He is such a master of online
stunts.
stunts.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's such a master manipulator of attention that I just thought this has to be an act, because it seemed there were no other cars, no one else on the street. I was like, oh, this is a setup. This is the first thing we're going to see in some kind of
Interesting.
launch of a new act.
It's crazy that that's where our brains go, or people's brains go.
Yeah, he is someone who I would believe could pull that off. And
Right.
I was really hoping that would be the case, because all I want for him is success and acclaim. And he has been able to defeat and use stereotypes, both break them down and also
Break them
lean
down,
into them
yes. Yeah.
to really, really make some good media Hollywood moments and good music obviously.
Did you see the video of his dad being interviewed? Like, it was the day that he was going to be released, I think, and it's like a video, and he's just talking about like God is good all the time, and they ask him some questions, and he's like his mental health is great, and just his that he has that support from his family. Did you guys see it?
I didn't.
Oh, it's very sweet. It's very sweet. Like I was just like, wow, they're it just was like, just have him in your prayers was literally the last like two things he just kept saying. Just please have him in your prayers. That's all we ask. And it was very, I don't know, it made me go like, he is going to be okay, because at least at the end of the day, if he has a family like that, in moments like this, you're just like, that it's just like, because I just feel bad for the kid. You know what I mean? That level of like scrutiny, and then like people being like, you see what happened. It's like, anyway.
I think with Lil Nas X, the way he came onto the scene with such success so quickly, he hadn't come out yet. And then when he did come out, there was almost like this overexertion of like, this is who I am. You're going to like it. I'm going to kiss boys on TV. It was very like punk rock in that kind of way. And also a little like a lot for a lot of people. And, I think that people have not given him the amount of grace that we give, like, let's say rock stars, like, let's say like a Mick Jagger or a Keith Richards, who are allowed to be bad boys. I don't think that gay men are allowed to be bad boys. I like bad boys. And I don't mean that in a dating sense. I mean, I like human beings. And I do not wish that this would have happened to him. I do think that it's one of those things. He's young, whether it's drugs or whatever it is, mental health issues. I feel like people are very unforgiving when it comes to young people, especially those that get a lot of fame and money quickly. It's almost like celebrities aren't allowed to have very real problems, and it always just reminds me of, the Britney Spearses of the world. And, the gay men are the only, like, I can only compare them to women, because women get such flack for any missteps or any, slip ups. But when you're black specifically, I feel like the authorities love to make an example of a black man.
They do.
They love even more making an example of a gay black man. They love even more making an example of a black trans woman. The way that Lil Nas X getting 4 counts for, battery. I'm not saying you should hit a cop. I like, hello, 101, you shouldn't do that. But the reaction, the like, I'm going to make a lesson out of you to everybody else, sometimes feels a little more heavy handed. I'm like, you guys are harder on these people than you are on your own guys in your unit that are bad cops. You know what I mean? That's why some people don't take you so seriously, because you're using this opportunity to be like, see, this is what even Lil Nas X, even his little gay ass isn't going to get past us, and it just feels kind of egregious sometimes.
Leo Herrera, who is, he is an author and poet and advocate. He's kind of hard to describe because he does a lot of things, but if you ever want a voice of clarity on the internet, especially when it comes to anything queer, you can count on Leo Herrera. His handle is @Herrera Images on Instagram and anywhere else, but Instagram is really Leo's platform. And he he has a book about cruising that's out now called Analog Cruising, which I suggest everyone check out. It's really, really interesting stuff. But he immediately posted, and he's such a wise person, and he posted, I'll read it aloud, but he said, "What 26-year-old gay hasn't strutted home in their undies at 4 a.m. after a wild night out? I sure did. But had I been this famous, friends would have made sure I wasn't alone or filmed by an asshole to sell to TMZ. Fame is isolating and corrosive. He was hospitalized for an OD, likely time-delayed drugs like KG or Tina that still have the gays in a silent chokehold. And of course, race. Had this been Troye Sivan, police and media treatment would be very different. Within a week, Troy could apologize on this with a cute apology and underwear merch. Will Lil Nas X be given the same grace? And now that bigots are saying this is what he gets for mocking Jesus, who in the gay community will rally for him, like when he was trolling our religious enemies? And who will abandon him as just a black gay boy who did too much?" And he went on to say in the following slide, "Black and brown gays who operate in predominantly white spaces often turn to drugs and alcohol as a way to take space and calm the anxiety of feeling invisible. I wish I had recognized this trigger earlier." Now, that second slide is tangential, obviously. He's now riffing on, it's a gay fantasia on national themes, right? He's kind of going left. But I see what he's talking about. He's kind of referring back to the fact that if he's, Leo says, if I had been on these drugs, etc., and I had been famous, I would have had friends in place that would have kept me from walking down alone now Ventura Boulevard. Easier said than done. That's the only kind of thing I disagree on. I think he went a little far on the point.
I protest a little on the Troye Sivan moment as well. Like, I understand we're like that argument, but there's no way of really knowing that.
I think he's trying to just make the correlation with that white gay men are allowed to get away with much more than black gay men. And even though gay men specifically are, targets all the time, there is a level of the difference between whiteness and blackness. Like, when you are black, you have to be the model minority. If not, immediately people are like, there they go. There they are.
Yes.
We knew it. Whereas if a white person does that, they don't get that same sort of, it's more of a, they must be really going through it mentally. Oh my gosh, they must be suffering from exhaustion. Things like that are said about a lot of or if it's like a straight guy, it's like, oh, they're just a bad boy. They're just going through their bad boy phase. Like, Justin Bieber can be high as a kite, and the girls we're still, everyone's acting like everything's normal.
Yeah.
But like, Kanye West has to go into a crazy, like, you know what I mean? Like, even using Kanye and Lil Nas X, and they're very like, there's miles between them, obviously, based on like how they've reacted in person. But like, even them, like, there's just more forgiveness for Kanye because of what he's given to straight people, whereas Lil Nas X has challenged straightness and religious ideology and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, who the hell are you, kid? Who the hell are you, faggot? To do that, and I get what he was trying to say about Troy. I don't think it was like he was trying to come for Troy. I think he was kind of just like let me use this as an example.
For sure.
And there are levels to these things.
No. Yeah, I agree with the levels of these things. And I just think that when it comes to drugs, I think people forget how, like, a lot of people act like they just aren't out and about everywhere. And when you do have that sort of level of fame, and I'm not saying what he was on, who he was on, what he was doing.
Exactly. He could have been on absolutely nothing. This is all allegedly until proven guilty in the court of the Latter-day Saints.
Right. Yeah. But if there were drugs involved, it is one of those things that I do think, like Leo said, does have a chokehold on gay men, and I'm not excusing behaving badly on drugs. I'm just saying that they're very readily available. And when you have people with a lot of unhealed trauma, or even people like Lil Nas X who are incredibly famous, who are paying people's bills, who are, probably feeding their family, it's a lot to put on someone. And I think you know, the same way we retroactively look at Britney Spears and we say, wow, we were really hard on her as a society, as a media. I feel like we could take those lessons and apply them, you know, or we look back at George Michael. George Michael got arrested for cruising, like something that feels so silly, but back then it was a career buster, you know, like it was, and now we look back and we're like, how badass of him to just go and like try and get his dick wet, you know what I mean? So I hope that we can have the same some sort of grace. And I have seen people kind of pulling together online and being like, it is hard, it must be hard, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I just always say, back to the Troye Sivan thing, is here I always say, disenfranchisement, which I love that word. There are queer, brown, and black kids, people, adults, are doubly disenfranchised. They're disenfranchised because they're queer, and then they're disenfranchised again because they're people of color. That doesn't take away that Troy is also disenfranchised. He's just super, ultra, mega platinum disenfranchised.
Right.
You know, he's more because that's just the way that this cookie crumbles. And the same way. So let's take out Lil Nas X and sub in Troy. This happened to Troy. The example would be Justin Bieber gets to XYZ. Meanwhile, Troy doesn't get the same grace, right? And I think the point is that straight mess gets a redemption arc. Queer mess becomes a cautionary tale.
Right.
The straights get to use it to come back better than ever. And often for queer and people and people of color, their mess becomes a warning.
Right.
It becomes the end. It becomes the beginning of the end. It becomes their undoing, not their ability to come back on a world tour bigger and better than they were before. There are, of course, other examples that could disprove my thesis. Of course. But we're going by more than the average. What happens usually most of the times? Sometimes. What happens most of the time is that queer mess becomes a cautionary tale. And, you know, how do I say this without sounding... I guess that's not to say that people don't get to rehab their image, but for black and brown queer folks, the punishment comes down fast, the opinions come down hard, and forgiveness is very hard earned. It takes a long time to undo the doing. And I just hope that Montero is able to use this and come back and build back better. You know, I hope that he is, because, you know, when we were talking about the concept for this show, Johnny brought up a really, you know, other examples, and George Michael's a great one, and then we were also thinking about Jussie Smollett. And I've always loved that story of the Jussie Smollett thing. And I should say, with Jussie, every charge, everything has been dropped. The Nigerian people, they were cleared. Nothing happened of it. At the end of the day, he went to jail for a little bit. He had to pay a fine. I think they returned the money, but everything was dropped. I think he had to. I wrote it down before. He forfeits $10,000 bond and does community service instead. So he had to do community service.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there was no factual finding of innocence or guilt. Case closed. It's a case that defies logic. I don't understand. This goes back to 2019 when Jussie Smollett allegedly he called the police saying that there were two people that were after him, that there was a racially charged crime. We found out that it was actually two Nigerian brothers who allegedly were helping him. But long story short, everything gets dropped. I'm not here to assess, although I would love an hour. We should make a documentary. I would love 2 hours to unpack every detail
want
of the case.
documentary on that.
Because the whole thing is so confusifying.
Well, there
it's
is one.
upside down.
There's one that
Is
just
there?
came out on Netflix. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
great.
what
I haven't
there's
seen
new
it.
findings and saying that there was tampering with the video footage by the Chicago PD, which If you guys don't know anything about the Chicago PD, they are very crooked and very there's been many years of just bad
Ooh, ooh.
behavior over there.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of speculation. I'm not, saying there's fact to it that this was, a setup. And Jussie has said that he's been innocent since the beginning. He's not changed his tune not once. And that's one of those things that also happened, and everybody jumped on his ass.
I jumped on his ass.
Yeah,
big.
I mean, we all because the evidence that was being put out in the media was like, she set it up. She did this to her. She did this.
Yeah, and
we were all like,
I just remember being like,
it never really sat right with me, because I'm like, why would she do that unless she was a cuckoo bananas girl,
But
and
what is there to
now
gain?
that I'm hearing there's new findings, I'm like, interesting. Okay,
Do you know any of the new findings?
I haven't. I read a couple tweets that I can't like say factually this is, but I did read tampering with the video footage that showed,
Got it. Okay.
something had been messed with, and
Something in the
it
milk
just
wasn't
made me
clean.
think about
Truly.
what that did to his public image, and how he hasn't really been able to recover it. Yeah, I mean, he's like started doing films again, some indie projects that I think I've seen a couple like previews for. But again, it's like one of those things that, had it been true or not, there was not an opportunity for him to say, hey, I messed up, I needed some my mental health is da 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 da. Like, it was just like, we're done with him, bye-bye. The same thing with someone like Laverne Cox, right? She admitted something that a lot of people were very understandably upset about. There were people that were like, fuck this bitch, get her out of here, dot 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 dot. And there's just such
Can you say what that was? Just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Laverne had come out and said that she had dated a cop, a MAGA supporting cop for a couple years.
A white, blue-eyed,
white, blue-eyed, and
cop.
she
he
said
was
it
hot.
correct, and she said
She
it
really
as like, she was
went
selling
on.
her one-woman show. She was like, if you come to the show, you'll hear about how I dated da 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 da. And people in the comments were, rightfully upset.
They ate her up.
They ate her up, yes. But it's almost as if all of her years of service to the cause, obviously, went out the window because she fucked up. Because she did something that other people might not fully understand. Because everything, like Dominique Morgan says, trans activist, everything has a tinge of nuance. I'm not going to sit here and talk about a black trans woman's dating history and who she should and would date, specifically knowing myself how hard it is for trans women to date in this world. But it was interesting to see how quickly people were ready to be like, off with her head, basically. People from in the community, people outside of the community. And this is one of those things. I think we are so much harder on our own, and then we have those outside of our community also hard on us. So it's like you have double the burden when you misstep, or when you behave badly, or when you do something that isn't up to snuff. And I like to hold space. I don't love like the idea of a redemption arc just like as a story thing. I do like for people to be real and to say, yeah, at some point I did say that. At some point I did do that. I'm human. I make mistakes. And, that's why I don't like when people are like, I have never, when people are standing on this moral pedestal pointing down. Like I was saying earlier today on TikTok, you bitches love to come out of the woodwork when somebody fucks up. You could have been the bitch that started the video saying, I don't like this bitch 3 years ago, but you waited for the bitch to fuck up. And now you're saying, oh, by the way, she did this once. I'm like, no. You don't get to jump in on the fight when the bitch is getting beat up if you're not in the fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, so I just feel like we should stand guard of our own a little more than we do.
Yeah. I just think I like I like people that have a lot to them.
Yeah.
History looks back very kindly on complicated people.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does. If you think back throughout history, once you find out the dark and the light, that's when a person becomes a historical icon. That's Alexander Hamilton. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Lin-Manuel did for Alexander Hamilton. He made him a three-dimensional person with good and with bad and with this and with that. And I think Laverne, how she did it, you know, okay, fine. We can argue about that. But it's her story.
Mm-hmm.
And who hasn't? Like, if especially a lot of the white gays you saw in the comments, you could click any of their profiles, and if you just took one look at their profile picture, be like, oh, you've definitely slept with at least 3 or 4 married men. I can tell from where you live. So, and by married I mean to a woman.
Yeah.
And that man was not on PrEP. Thankfully, you were for their sake. So I just think that we want queer people to feel like they can be three-dimensional, that we are not defined by our worst moments. Mm-hmm. And I hope that for Montero, this can be that, because we've all had our messy moments. And regarding the partying, which Johnny, you mentioned a little bit earlier, what I always call doing adult stuff, being adult, is very important for everybody, right? I think it's important for straight kids, everybody. Going out, having a good time, losing your keys, breaking your cell phone. Where's my wallet? I have no idea. Let me call my mom. Whatever, you know, your SOS is. Those SOS moments are important. For queer people, I think they're particularly important. Now, I'm not here to defend drug use as a lubricant to facilitate that kind of getting to know you of oneself. I'm not here to do that. But I will say that those days, those wild and crazy nights, are a part of any queer story.
Absolutely.
And he had a bad night. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was just a bad night. Maybe there were no drugs involved. This is all allegedly, it could be all hocus pocus until we get the toxicology reports back. But here's what matters. I'm not interested in policing straight people. I'm over that. I'm tired. That makes me exhausted. But I still have some energy to police the queers. And I still think that we should at least do better for ourselves. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like on Mob Wives or something. On Mob Wives, those bitches, they don't even need to know what happened, and they're defending their kids and their own.
Right.
They said, yes, what they said was right. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was with me. I have no idea where they were. She was with me at my house. You know, we need that level of full-chested support. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Well, that goes into the conversation of how we are not easy on other queer people because we are not easy on ourselves. Like we metabolize and internalize a lot of that homophobia. So when when gays do bad things, you hear that pastor or that uncle or that mother who said, if you turn to that lifestyle, trigger word, you will end up like this person. You hear it your whole upbringing sometimes. So then when you slip up, I can't tell you how many times I was high on Molly, living my life in New York City as a young 20-something boy, and I would think to myself, I am going to hell. Like, I'm going to hell. Like, this is what they said. This is what they talked about. So it's a very tough place to be for a lot of people. When a lot of gay and queer and trans people do drugs, it's not like straight cis white men doing drugs. It's not like, we're going fucking crazy, man. It's like, I'm using this sometimes as, and I'm not saying, some cis straight white guy isn't doing drugs because he can't talk about his feelings. Like, we're all doing it for different reasons.
Sure.
That there's a layer of like non-forgiveness when it comes to our own that I feel like, that's why I always wanted to start a nonprofit that taught classes on how to do drugs ethically and within reason, because I feel like a lot of overdoses, a lot of things happen in the community because people aren't shown how to use drugs recreationally the right way. And I've told a couple people this, and some people are like, oh, that's a really good cause. And then some people are like, well, aren't you glorifying drug use, or aren't you saying that's normal? And here's what I will say. I'm not anyone to judge how much drugs should play a part in someone's life, but I do know that they do play a part in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
And I would rather those people go into the situation knowing and being equipped with enough information that if they were to get into trouble or they were to see someone overdosing at a party, they know how to jump in and save people. Because I have been in many rooms when someone starts to convulse or to have a moment where other people in the party just look at them and say, oh, she's a mess, rather than jumping to say, get some water, get some this, like, we need to help this person. It's just, this is the community we're in. It's like, we can't say we're a community if all we do is get together and, you know, talk shit about each other or sleep with each other's men. And, you know, there has to be some sisterhood, some brotherhood, some family involved
At some point.
And so when I see someone like Lil Nas X walking down the street doing a whole lot, I'm like, oh, sister, stop, sister.
Sister,
I'm
stop.
not like,
Stop, sister.
you know, sister, get in the car, sister. I'm not like, wow, what trash. This is why you shouldn't give people fame so early. Like, I hate a bitch that likes to judge from the corner, because like I said today on TikTok, when you are judging from all the way up there, just remember Scarlett always takes a tumble. And if you don't get that reference, just look it up on YouTube. You'll see what I mean by that. But we all get our time in the sun, and sometimes we don't get it publicly. Sometimes we don't have to experience it online. Sometimes people do. But I think just having a little more grace for people and grace for yourself, because I feel like sometimes when people are writing these comments, they're saying it to themselves at the same time. Like some of those girls that are being judgy, I'm like, I've seen you at a party, Miss Mamza. Like,
yeah.
You're a mess. Like, what are you doing online talking about D? You know?
You guys said something earlier, how we're hard on ourselves, so that's why we're like, you know, we're hard on the others. And I wonder if like there is such an internalized what we're feeling about ourselves. We go, I can let it out over here on you. You know what I mean? So like we see this thing and it's like a release for them. No, I'm like, I wonder how much of that is like, you that thing that I'm scared happening to me. And you know, like it's like they're, like you just said, like they're talking to them. Like what you're saying to them is what you're really saying to you about you. And it's just interesting that like I'd be curious to see if that is kind of what is happening next time when we have a psychotherapist and psychologist on an episode of Leches. You know?
I mean, it don't take a rocket science to know when someone's like, when you have one finger pointing that way, you have two fingers pointing back at you. That's why a lot of times when girls are like, I don't know, she rubs me the wrong way, there's something in that bitch that you see in yourself.
Yeah, the expression is when you're pointing your finger at someone, you've got three fingers pointing back at yourself.
Three?
One of those three. Yeah, three.
Okay.
Even
Yeah,
worse.
I thought it was three. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. These three, your pinky, middle, and ring.
Because you're going like this?
Because you're going like that.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
I mean, it's definitely like a thing that a first grade teacher uses in her classroom, but it is true now, even in our 27 plus years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what Leo said about like, you know, we've all been that girl at 26 in our skivvies just walking down the street. Have you guys ever been? Can you harken back to a day where you're like, wow, that was a messy moment?
Oh, I have so many over the years. I have some really
I feel like you have some
moments over the
crazy
years.
stories, like driving back from DC, some things high on Molly or
Oh,
something.
it works.
Con
Airing you out, girl.
con Senora Stewart or something like Jersey Boys.
One thing
Day.
Ian's gonna do, she will air you out, but she will keep hers.
From DC.
That's something you do very well. You'll be like, so when you blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
Okay.
I have a story coming back from Canada that I actually cannot share. That I actually cannot share. No, I cannot share it. But I will give. I have other many messy moments
From Canada?
It was driving back from Canada. The story you're thinking, not from DC.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're right. Maybe that is what it is.
That was
Anyway.
extremely messy, and that'll be in the book. It was an expensive mistake too. It cost me. Let me see. What was something? Oh, I mean, I have so many messy moments. I mean, okay. I would say the messiest moments are actually alcohol related for sure. I know of a messy moment. A messy moment. I was coming back from Fire Island and I had done absolutely too much. Okay, of everything, and I fell asleep on the waiting for the train.
Yes.
And I had to rush to get onto the train to get back to the city. I got back I got onto the train, and then when I got to New York, I realized that I had left my phone at the train station where I had dozed off.
You had just said goodbye to us, by the way, on the island 45 minutes before.
Yeah. So I got to the city, and this is the time when you couldn't get a
Uber.
you couldn't get you couldn't get an Uber. You couldn't get an Uber.
Right.
But it was you couldn't get a cell phone easily.
Yeah.
It was the era of like contracts and the this and the that, and I said, "Bitch, I'm going back. I am going back. I got a zip car." And I drove back, and I was logging on with my iPad to find the early version of that in different places. And it kept moving, and I kept following it all the way back to Queens, and then I never ended up getting the phone. But I will just tell you that was a very messy moment. That was not maybe
Red
perhaps
wine.
the most red wine and ... But here
Red wine, ...
that was a messy moment. I've also had like messy moments of just like, oh my god, I find my poor ex like throwing up in a cab. I mean, just disastrous things over the years. You know, I could go on and on.
I have one where I was pointing the finger and fucking a whole fist was pointing back at me. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but
What story is that?
This was at your house in Brooklyn.
Oh.
And we're getting ready to go out. And and ... was happening, and all of this innuendo, out-uendo. But like I was literally talking about a friend of ours who is no longer with us, and about their drug use and how they tended to be someone who we had to take care of all the time. And you know, and like I'm talking swiftly it was like whoosh, and I had a moment where Juan and Jack had to take care of me before, at least it was before the function, but it was a moment where I was like, and I will never do that again, which is talk bad about someone in that way. But you know, anyway, but like, you know what I'm talking about, Juani.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
It was
you live and you learn.
Yeah,
that's why I say when you're up there pointing the finger, and not to say you didn't have points. Obviously, you had a point. You know, there is truth sometimes in judgment, but sometimes life will show you, girl. Sometimes it's not that easy.
Johnny,
what about yours?
I don't really have any.
Oh, you don't?
Like,
You don't have any moments?
I really don't have. I have a moment where I felt like I was doing too much, and you know, if you hear this, you'll be like, girl, please. But it was a moment, I think it was on Pride. It was at an after party. The ones where they were like in the basement. And I remember it was like the first time I had ever done it.
They're still in the basement.
Yeah,
that was years later.
No, and this is like before the place was called the basement. This was like a place that was like in a basement somewhere. And I remember all the girls were there. Quentin was there, like, you know, and I was like, this is what the girls do. Like they party. And I do not remember what time. I like never cared about what time it was. I didn't think about it. And I remember being like, okay, I got to go home. And I walk up into the street, and it was Monday morning, and people were going to work. And I was spooky magoo, like eyes just like boom, like bugging, like. And I just remember waiting for my thing in my little Pride outfit on the corner and being like, this is a mess. Like, people are on their way to work, and you're dressed like, you know,
Laura Leon.
And that's the time I felt the messiest. You know, I'm sure there's been other messy moments, but it was like messy moments that I knew were messy, you know?
Yeah.
Can I change my messy story?
Sure.
Of course.
because you just reminded me of the morning. It's like, this is a great story. This is one of my best stories. Final night of Kinky Boots in Miami at the Adrian R Center was a huge weekend for me. It was an amazing time, right? I was performing in the show. Everybody came to see it. It was out of a dream. My mother said to me, hey, listen, Monday morning, can you, show closes on Sunday, Monday morning, can you come and take care of your grandmother in the morning? You just have to be with her because like until like my grandmother was she had advanced dementia at the time, non-ambulatory, the whole thing. And my mom was like, can you come be with her until her care comes, right? Like later on in the morning, there's going to be a gap when no one is at the house because my aunt was out of town. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Mom, I got you. And she goes, listen, do not party too much because I have to be at a meeting. Listen to me, Juan. I have to be at a meeting at 9 a.m. My mom was sad when my mom had a meeting. She had to be at a meeting. She's a very serious executive. Okay? You have to be there. So you have to be there by 8 o'clock so you can ring the room. And I said, ay, mommy, please. Please. Okay?
Barbara, please.
Yeah, I was like, Alina, hazme el favor, please. I will be there. I can handle it. Whatever.
Right.
Okay, please. So this is when I think Score was still open on Miami Beach.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. And so we went out on the Sunday night after the show. I did absolutely too much. The last thing I remember is my head bouncing on on Washington Avenue. Okay. I woke up. Listen to me.
I'm so scared. I don't.
I know, I'm scared.
I woke up and I'm in a hotel room.
Oh.
I have no idea where I am. I am so confused. I turn to my left and I see the outline of what is a child. And it is, when we were on tour with Kinky Boots, you know how there are kids, like the young Lolas?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the young Lolas was Boricua. He was so cute. And his mom went out and partied with us. Uh-huh. And she took me back to her house, but she had two other little kids.
Oh, my God.
And her littlest one was a baby, okay? Mm-hmm. He was like 1, okay? 1.5, a baby, so cute. And so I'm in bed. I have no idea where I am. I see the outline of everything. And I'm like, what is going on? And he goes like this. He pops out of bed and he goes, morning. I look at the clock. It was 9:45 a.m.
Oh.
9:45
And you had to be at Georgina's at what time?
I was supposed to be at my house by 8. She wanted me home at 8. It was 9:45. My cell phone was dead. I didn't even wait to get it enough charge to leave. There was no Uber. There was no nothing. I hopped in a cab, a Miami cab. It took forever to get home, and my mother was waiting on the couch in her full outfit until I arrived. She said nothing to me. Do you hear me? She said nothing. She got in her car and she left.
Oh, wow.
That wasn't good.
Yeah, no. And your grandmother, what did she say?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
The woman didn't know who the president was at the time. She was giving nonverbal tease.
Whoa.
This story is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Wait, we had a couple people write in that wanted to share their messy stories.
Oh yes.
Okay. I am going to not say these people's names.
Yeah, let's keep it anonymous.
Yeah.
Even though they very willingly.
Yes, they did. And we appreciate that level of candor. So this person says, I was fucking a dad and his son and didn't realize it until I saw a pic of the son in the dad's home. I'm going to rate that, I'm going to give that an 8.5 out of 10.
That's an 8.5 out of 10 on the messiness scale for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, that is.
We need to send that over to Brandon Cal Goodman for his podcast because I think that deserves his analysis as well. That's pretty good.
That is
good for you.
Interesting. Yeah.
It is very interesting. Like how old, how like far in age are these two? Like
So first off, because of punctuation was an issue for me here. I was confused because I thought he was saying I was fucking a dad and his son at the same time.
At the same time.
I
No.
know. And
God,
didn't
thank
realize
God
until I
that wasn't
saw a pic of
the
the son and the
case.
dad's home. Wow, that's crazy.
I wouldn't have believed that for a second. I would.
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah,
have?
no.
Huh?
You wouldn't have believed that in the United States of America?
I wouldn't have
On this
wanted to
earth?
believe it. I would willingly
Oh.
be like, "That's not true. That's not true."
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up, got caught getting my ass eaten in the backstage of a red. Not backstage.
I hope it's a Red Lobster.
No, got caught getting my ass eaten in the backstage of Red Eye, full on back, ass in air.
Oh,
Woo!
that's happened to me before.
Hey, listen, I feel like that's also happened to me.
Wait,
Like the security
hold on.
has what?
Not at the Red Eye, but
at a Red Eye.
no, I'm saying
At
that
a Red
someone's
Eye,
walked
in a
in
Red
on
Eye.
me doing something naughty. That's how that happens, you know.
No. Yeah, I was at. I was at a bar.
Oh wait, this isn't a plane. This is a place.
Yeah, it's the place in New York, Red Eye.
Oh. See, I was like, wait, you're on a plane, like that's it.
Oh, now that is juicier. A Red
was
Eye
on a
that would
Red
have been a
Eye.
7.
Yeah,
that would have been a
that's-
7.5. The fact that it was just
Getting
at
caught
Red
in the
Eye
air
is a
doing
7.
that is
Right.
crazy.
Yeah. I'll give
That's
that. I'll
crazy.
give that a 5, just because
5.
gay
Yeah.
spaces. 5 out
Gay
of 10.
spaces.
Come on.
Gay spaces.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like this one.
Okay.
The personal shopper at Jacquemus took me into the VIP room and sucked me off.
Word.
I know you are either rich or you are fine. One of the two. You might be both. Because I know the personal shopper at Jacques Mousse, they don't have ugly people there.
Ooh. What are
We
you
don't
trying
know
to
about
say?
all that. We don't know about all that.
He only said he had to be hot. The Jack Moose people would never suck a dick of an ugly person.
Period.
That's literally what you're saying.
Or you're rich and you buy a lot and he felt like he would maybe make a bigger sale. One or the other. It could be both.
I love that they like name drop the brand because
Because
Listen. If you're going to
matters.
write, it does. Red Eye, Jacquemus. I'm like, okay, so
people are
I
like,
picture. I
okay, this is
understand
where
what
I'm going. I'm gonna go get a Jacques Moose shirt, honey, for the VIP experience.
Yeah, like work. I honestly like that would be like a story that like Johnny would tell me, and then I'd be like, "Ooh, I want something like that to happen to me." You know what I mean? Like something where you're like,
that is something. Had I been the Jacques Moose employee, bitch, that is something that I would have done.
yes, yes,
because I have done it.
the one with no messy stories.
Well, no, I thought we meant like like. I have lots of messy sexual
just
stories.
because you haven't like sold meth to Bobby Christina doesn't mean that you don't have messy stories, Johnny. They don't have to be that messy.
I have messy sexual stories, but I don't have a lot of other extracurricular messy stories, I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was definitely the employee at the place.
Of the month.
Right. And I was going to get a raise, period. No, I definitely have worked many places where I have offered extra services for because I thought people were hot.
Because they were just fine as hell.
I've worked at hotels where I'd go up to the room and we do a little do do do. I've worked at spas where I have do 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 do. I've worked at restaurants where the bathroom gave a little bop 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 bop. Honey, listen, I'm a gay man. Like, you know what I mean? When the opportunity presents itself, sometimes you just have to take it.
Work. You should do.
I have been
essays
at a
on
Soho
that.
house and got in a ga like, boom, girl. We could get it wherever.
Yeah, where were these stories, huh? She's giving Barbara Walters. She's
Well, I
so
just
tell
said it
me.
right now.
Yes, thank you. Nope, that's what I mean.
They're
That's what
here.
we want. They're here now. They're here now. Are they here in the house with us now?
Yes. So what would you rate that story of the Jacques Mousse?
I'm gonna give that a 10 out of 10 for me. I like the VIP-ness of it. I like that it was private. I know
luxury.
enjoyment was had, and it felt like
You're also seeing who wrote it.
no, I'm
So
not.
is that
No, I'm
anything to
not.
do with it?
Juan.
Did you click the profile?
She wants you
Juan,
to paint
I
picture
took a
for her.
screenshot of the fucking
Okay,
answers
okay.
because I knew I wanted to be prepared, and so I'm looking on like the Photos app. I don't know how to zoom in, so all I see is a name, and I see the profile photo is black and white.
Okay,
And that's all
I believe you. I believe you.
Don't you worry too much about what they look like. You got a man at home.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. And a strict one.
Juan's, I dated a MAGA guy, but he has brown eyes. No,
right.
just kidding. Jay, you're not a MAGA at all.
Oh my God.
Okay, next we've got. I was locked out on the balcony with 2 others because the host had fell asleep and locked the door.
Wait, what?
I was what?
Locked out on the balcony with 2 others because the host had fallen asleep and locked the door.
Oh,
I see.
yeah. The girls were definitely on drugs for that one.
Got it.
But martinis also. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
No.
Like,
Yeah. No. Listen. People. You can fall asleep while someone's on their way to come hang out with you, and they're waiting for you downstairs, and like it's so. I'm so sorry. Like maybe they just fell asleep.
Right. Yeah.
Colombia.
Maybe they just.
I'm gonna give that a Colombia. Oh my! The things
give
that
that
you
a-
remember, Juan, about the things.
I'm gonna give that a 3.
It's crazy. That's hilarious to me. I'm gonna give that a 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next. Oh, from the same person, by the way.
Oh, okay.
LOL, love that. Slept with 18 different in 3 days. 18 separately, not an orgy.
Oh! Whoa! Woo!
Juan said a girl after my own heart, honey.
My goodness! My goodness! 18? God damn! No.
She couldn't make it to 20? Come on now.
I know, you're already there. Give yourself a nice even number. Even though 18 is even,
No, but you know why 18 is good? Because I believe it. 18, is good. 18 reminds me of one of my favorite jokes. Can I tell you? It's a quick joke.
Yeah.
It's a quick joke, okay? In the middle of Soviet Russia, everything is hard. There's a old couple and they've got no money. They've got nothing left. And the husband says, "You have to go out and work. Sell your body. Come back with money." She goes back. She goes out to work. She comes back at the end of the day. And she gives him 101 rubles. And he says, "Who gave you 1 ruble?" She says, "They all did."
Oh, that's funny.
That's very funny. I love that.
Okay, next one, then we gotta go.
Yeah, then we gotta go. Okay, next one. Invited a grinder third over while my husband was sleeping. Woke him up to join.
Oh.
Oh, that seems very considerate. I don't know. That's so messy.
I don't like that. Don't wake me up out of my sleep.
I think it got a good redemption arc there at the end. It started off a little like naughty, and then it got, "Hey, do you want in on this?" But
Hey,
I
do you
would
want to
imagine-
wake up so you can get in on this? Like, that doesn't sound sexy to me.
I don't know. Context,
me
you
up.
know, who knows? Maybe they've done this before. Maybe it was the first time they did it, but it's like kind of
Yeah, if the
their
person
way.
was hot and
Who
they're
knows?
like, "Hold on, I gotta wake him up for this." Like, I could see that. But
I'm gonna need to
God,
brush
having
my teeth
sex after you
also.
wake up is so annoying.
I don't like it.
I would have to. People like I would have to really feel there's that level of like trust with my partner that like that is there, and so that when I wake up, like you better have woken me up out of REM for someone who only shops at Jacques.
Better be
He better be someone who shops at Jacques, and the VIP personal shopper only likes him. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
By the way, that's how we say that, right? Jacques Mousse. I'm so afraid of saying French words. Is it French? I'm so afraid of saying French words because I literally feel so dumb, and I feel like an intelligent person, but I see a French word and I'm like, apple, and it's like I can never pronounce the fucking word. It makes no sense.
Well,
Makes no sense.
I don't know, but in French, like you wouldn't normally say the S, so it's probably like Jacques Mu, but like maybe I don't know. Who knows?
But your
let's
French
have-
is beautiful.
Let's
No, I mean,
the VIP experience manager come on Tres Leches, the podcast, to let us know.
Yes.
How do you say Jacques Moose?
There can't be that many VIP experience managers for my
She's
for
gonna
my
Olivia Pope
investigators.
after this is done.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Wow. Well, this
right,
was
well-
a great episode.
Yes, and I think more gays should behave badly, and when gays do behave badly, I think other gays should let them.
Yeah.
Let them.
And listen, what happened to Sweet Montero? These are serious charges, and let's hope that he's cleared of them. And whatever happens, it is serious. But that's the whole the joy of it all is that life is very complicated, and it's dark and it's light, and these experiences, and I think sharing from our experiences to show you that, like, yeah, we have all been there, and we need to extend and offer grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing the light at the end of this sort of dark tunnel right now for him, and this being like a moment that actually ends up being a gift for him and for us, you know?
100%.
And lastly, if you have not seen the George Michael documentary on Netflix, get thee to a nunnery and make sure you do take it in, because it's really important, and it illuminates what can really happen after something like this happens to a queer person. And it was a different moment, different era, but a lot of the rules of engagement are still the same.
Got it.
And
Take it
remember
in.
to rate, like, and subscribe. It means the world to us. Otherwise, we have no audience at all, and we utterly need you. So please send this to anyone you think would enjoy.
Betty, what advice would you give to a young girl who's trying to get into Hollywood?
I would absolutely tell them to always, no matter what, take Fountain. Always.
Goodbye.
Bye, we love you.
¡Qué rico!